This woman swallowed a screw hard. It made her mouth full of blood, 00030004 partial black and white blood, although the body produced serious discomfort. But psychologically it was a great satisfaction. This is a special fetish of her daily life. She often swallowed many unbelievable gadgets, such as this glass marble. Annie put it in her mouth and swallowed it, until after she went to the bathroom. She put on her gloves and reached out to retrieve it. Then she cleaned the marble and put it on the table like a treasure. The heart will be full of a sense of accomplishment. In the long run, her table was filled with the fruits of victory, from the smallest button to a large ornament. And the reason why she became like this, all because she married the wrong person. Annie was an ordinary supermarket saleswoman. Then she married Jack, a rich man. In the eyes of others, she was lucky, but in reality, she was a free nanny in a rich family. She's always on her knees and in a lowly position. She couldn't even get a word in at family dinners. Annie was so depressed that she had to chew the ice cubes in her glass with her head down. The sound she made drew strange looks from everyone. This was the first time she felt that she could be noticed. After that, she would swallow something strange to comfort herself whenever she was depressed. Soon after, Annie became pregnant. Her mother-in-law didn't care about Annie's health at all. Instead, she sent a book on pregnancy precautions. She also ordered Annie to grow her hair long, because her son only likes women with long hair. Later, her husband was furious with Annie for washing her shirt. Annie did not dare to explain, but had to hold back. But the repressed emotions had to be let out. Woman swallowed a glass ball. Then she picked up a nail that had fallen on the floor and swallowed it with great pain. As a result, she cut her throat, vomited a bucket of blood, 0134-0135 partial black and white blood. It was not until the day she went for a maternity checkup, 0135-0139. Only then did the family discover Annie's horrible special fetish. The doctor found a lot of strange metal objects in her stomach. The doctor immediately operated on her. He removed sharp objects such as pins and nails from her stomach. When she returned home, her husband yelled at her. He thinks Annie is a psycho. Annie, who had been holding back for too long, finally exploded at this moment. She told her husband that it was because she had never been valued in the family. That's why she used this little quirk to vent her emotions. But her husband didn't understand, so he called a psychiatrist to see Annie. Her mother-in-law even hired a bodyguard to keep an eye on her 24 hours a day. Even to go to the bathroom, she had to be searched in advance. Everyone in the family appeared to be concerned about Annie. In fact, they only care about the baby in her belly. The more she was watched, the more depressed she felt. She went into the bathroom. Under the toilet, she pulled out a pack of screws she had hidden in advance and swallowed it. All the depression of the past few days was swept away. However, at a business party hosted by her husband, a woman came up to Annie and asked, "Have you gotten rid of that particular fetish now?" It turned out that her husband had torn Annie's scars open for others to laugh at in order to please the business partners. Annie was devastated. She went to a psychiatrist and told him about her miserable life. Annie said she was actually the daughter of a rapist when her mother was assaulted by that man. Then she gave birth to herself. Her mother remarried and lived happily ever after. The whole family saw themselves as sinners. Since she was a child, Annie has never had a normal life. Now she was married to a rich man, but the family never treated themselves as human beings. Talking about these things, Annie felt better. She told the psychiatrist not to tell her husband what she said today. To her surprise, the doctor called her husband and told him that she was the daughter of a rapist. Annie was completely desperate. In this world, there was no one she could trust. Her bipolar disorder returned. Sharp screwdriver was swallowed by a woman. She is an omnivore. Despite being pregnant, she could not help swallowing all kinds of strange objects. By the time her family found Annie, the knife had already cut through her esophagus. This time there was no way to remove it directly from her throat. Only open surgery was possible. 0337-0340 local black and white blood. Her husband and mother-in-law had already decided that Annie was mentally ill. They were going to send her to a mental hospital. Annie was afraid that once she went there, she would never get out again, so she slipped out of the window when her family wasn't looking. She grabbed a handful of dirt from the roadside and put it in her pocket. Then she checked into a hotel. Annie put the dirt on her bed. She ate it with gusto. Now no one was watching her. She could eat as much as she wanted. She called her mother. She wanted her mother to take her in, but her mother always saw Annie as a cancer. Then she called her husband with a glimmer of hope, but her husband was very mean to her. He said, "If you want to die, you have to give me the baby first." Annie realized that she was a reproductive tool of her family, without any status or dignity. Thinking that she had been the daughter of a rapist since she was a child, she was not valued for her humble life. In desperation, Annie took out a photo of her biological father, the same man who had assaulted her mother. She found her father's home. Her father already had a happy family of his own. She didn't want to destroy his life. She just wanted to get an answer. She asked him, "Are you ashamed of my existence?" He said, "I'm only ashamed of the mistakes I've made. That has nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong." With those few simple words, but they gave Annie a strength she had never known before. It was like an acknowledgement of her existence in the world. She finally aborted the baby and left her husband, ready for a new life, to break free from her bondage, trying to make peace with herself, to live a life of your own.